Number 3, we're going to look at the quotient of a power property, okay? So notice that there's an x to the 8 on top and an x to the 2 on the bottom. What am I going to do is I'm going to move this to the top of the fraction. So there's an x to the 8th and the x, but now it's a minus 2 because it went to the top, and there's a 1 on the bottom. Next, we can add the exponents. 8 minus 2. This looks like the quotient property, so the answer is just x to the 6th power. That is why it is. The explanation on why that is because x to the 8 really means x times x times x times x, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That's x to the 8, and on bottom, it's x times x. Notice this cancels out, leaving you with an x to the 6 on top. That is the explanation on why we're allowed to do that. Okay? All right. B, it is best to separate it with the numbers and then the variables. Okay? So the number here is 5 over 15, and the variables are x to the 3rd and x to the negative 2. All right? So what I'm going to do is simplify. 5 over 15 is 1 over 3. And for this one, I'm going to bring the x to the negative 2 on top. So it goes to the top. Now it becomes a positive 2. Okay? So we bring it to the top. It was a minus on the bottom. It becomes a positive on top. Right? So we have x to the 3rd and x to the 2nd. That becomes x to the 5th, which is on top, times 1 to the 3rd. So the final answer here would be x to the 5th over 3. That would be the final answer. All right. Next. Here, again, separate with the numbers. Negative 45 over 15. This is the numbers. And then we're going to have the variables. And the variables here are x to the 3rd, x squared, and x to the 7. All right, let's do this first. Let's see, I think 15 goes into all of this. So 15 goes into negative 45 negative 3 times, and 15 goes into 15 one time. So for this one, we're going to have x to the 3rd, which is normal. Then we have x squared plus x to the 7, because that's what the bottom is. X2 plus 7 becomes x to the 9. Okay? Do you see that? All right. So there's many ways you can do this. What I'm going to do is I'm going to bring this down with it so it's together. So there was an x to the 9 already, then x to the 3rd, but when we brought it down, it becomes a negative exponent. All right? And there's a 1 on top, negative 3 over 1. So here these two will combine, leaving you with an x 9 minus 3. We know 9 minus 3 becomes 6. And we have a negative 3 over 1 times that. So the final answer would just be negative 3 over x to the 6. All right? Okay, there's many ways to do this, okay? But this is the way I did it. I brought the x to the 3rd down the fraction bar because I'm trying to get it next to the other x variable, okay? All right, so there you go. That is how you apply these quotient of a power property.